We are going to be presenting over the SOVTE, the semi-occluded vocal tract exercises by Lisanne Fleming, Michaela Hagee, Crystal Looney, and Leslie Paramore. What is SOVTE? By definition, the semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, in simple terms, means the mouth is partially closed. Semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. What the heck is that? Why to use SOVTE? The purpose of semi-occluded vocal tract exercises is to improve vocal fold adduction, vocal registration, and epilarynx tube narrowing. These exercises help one to achieve the best acoustic power transfer from the glottis to the lips. Semi-occluded vocal tract exercises are easy to understand as well as easy to follow.
So here we have an example of a straw phonation application.
For those of you who talk several hours a day and your voice gets tired, here's a tip to keep you talking. You need to stretch and unpress your vocal cords or vocal folds often. To accomplish this, you can vocalize through a thin straw, like a stirring straw, several times a day for about 2 to 5 minutes. Here's a regimen you can follow. First, do a pitch glide from as low as you can to as high as you can. After doing the pitch glide for 1 or 2 minutes, you can vary the exercise by making progressively larger hills with the pitch and loudness of your voice. We call these little hills accents. Let me demonstrate.
So what are the benefits of SOVTEs? So when the mouth is partially closed, increased back pressure reflects the lips directly back to the vocal folds to help the folds vibrate more easily and with less effort. These exercises, they engage all areas of the subsystems of voicing, power, source, filter, and articulators. There are also varying ways to complete these exercises, and they can be modified to meet the unique needs of patients. The exercises provide kinesthetic feedback to the patient, which can be useful for carryover of connected speech.
Some benefits continued are the intraoral pressure. This is when the vocal tract has a frontal occlusion. This increases intraoral pressure as well as the pressure above the glottis. Additionally, increasing the intraoral pressure in non-nasal SOVTEs encourages palatal lift. Raising the pressure affects relationships of other pressures in the vocal tract. Exercises like the SOVTEs that raise the supraglottal pressure in relationship to the subglottal pressure lower the transglottal pressure. This reduces the driving force of phonation. The phonation threshold pressure, also known as PTP, is defined as the air pressure it takes to cause the folds to oscillate. PTP rises with pitch. Peaks and valleys are dependent on which degree an individual uses source-filter interaction in phonation. SOVTEs aid in techniques in which higher ranges do not feel so strained. The respiratory force and subglottic pressure is the more work the respiratory does to increase airflow through the vocal tract, the more workout it gets. SOVTEs increase the workload of the respiratory system with resistance of specific exercises. This is a type of warm-up activity for advanced singers, but also benefits how quickly a singer learns to gain breath forces needed for healthy and robust singing. We know that when there's an increase of work in the respiratory system, that raises the subglottic pressure. That is where the SOVTEs help in reducing a risk of taxing their voice. The vertical laryngeal position, the VLP, refers to the height of the larynx. So for singers, it's important for singers to be able to adjust the position of their larynx in a healthy and effective release as a part of a training process. A lower VLP is a potential benefit of SOVTEs. When a singer deflects downward pressure, it is helpful in educating the singer to reduce their intensity of the exercise in order to decrease subglottal breath pressure. Using the instructions, allow the throat to feel long, provides the effectiveness of the exercises to lower the VLP. Loudness and tonal color. This is when the SOVTEs can reduce wear and tear of the vocal folds and result in a tone that is distinct, brighter, and powerful. If the supraglottal pressure is elevated enough, this will push open the glottis at opening while suppressing the airflow. When closing negative supraglottal pulls, the folds back together while maintaining flow as long as possible before the folds adduct, also known as the push-pull of the glottis. The more inertia, the more push-pull. Increased energy and higher harmonics makes the sounds brighter and boosts frequencies clustered in a range. The glottis contains its own level of impedance. When the glottis and the vocal tract match, this is called impedance matching. This is when the best power transfer takes place. And last but not least, contact quotient. Every time there's a glottal cycle, the folds come together along the bottom edge of the fold, zip to the top, and begins to separate along the bottom edge to unzip the top. The timing of the vocal folds touching is called the contacting phase of the contact quotient, the CQ. The CQ is a measurement of the percentage that the vocal folds touch in each cycle, and the CQ is a measurement of the percentage the vocal folds are not touching in each cycle.
Now we're going to talk about how to use these exercises. So grab a straw, let's practice. We want to make sure that no air is escaping around the lips or through the nose when we do have the straw in our mouth. You want to maximize the amount of air pressure the vocal folds receive. Think of a vowel like B rather than an M to help ensure that all acoustic energy stays in the vocal tract. Pinch your nose on and off to see if any is escaping through the nasal cavity. SOVTs allow you to focus more easily on upper harmonics in your sound, opening your ears to new focus opportunities. You can also try different sized straws. Each person will enjoy a different size depending on a number of factors. The opening of the straw plays the most important role in how much back pressure it creates. Use smaller straws and multiples to measure the amount of back pressure and efficiency over time. Put 2 straws together side by side for less back pressure. You can use the same kind of straw side by side in multiples to measure differences in back pressure. 3 straws worth will be less pressure than 2 straws worth, etc. You can put 2 straws together lengthwise for more back pressure. And then you can try using a paper cup, poking a hole in the bottom with a pencil and singing with the rim of the cup sealed around your lips. The acoustic benefits are similar and you can move your lips more. Smaller cups with smaller holes create a greater amount of back pressure. Focus on the sensations of creating the sound rather than the volume of the sound. Singing through a straw will never be as loud as open mouth singing. When to use SOVTE. If you hear a breathy sound, the back pressure creates created helps the vocal folds come together, preventing less air from escaping. If you hear a press sound, the back pressure created helps vocal fold vibration without muscular effort, so muscles can be trained to engage less. If you hear a disconnected sound, sliding through the straw encourages legato in singing. If you hear a tired sound, SOVT phonation is less fatiguing, but still requires the focus and coordination of full volume singing. If you hear first sound of the day, last sound of the day, warm up, cool down, or reset button, or as a reset during days of heavy vocal activity. If you hear a break in the voice, the back pressure created also helps the fold line up during transitions in the voice.
And here is another example.
What we're seeing here is the backside of the larynx. When you vocalize, air comes up from the lungs and the vocal cords start to vibrate. You'll see here that the vocal cords aren't in sync with each other. This asymmetry could be the result of muscles that aren't balanced or coordinated, so you'd hear a periodic break in the sound. What we do want is the vocal cords coming together evenly and symmetrically. When you vocalize into the straw, the air that can't escape through the straw provides pressure backwards to the vocal cords from the other direction. This is represented by the dots you see flowing backwards. That balance between the forward pressure and the backward pressure allows the vocal cords to balance symmetrically and square up. This is when you get the best sound and the most comfortable feeling. Another benefit of the straw is that it actually changes the shape of your pharynx. That's your throat. When you use the straw, it creates more space and length in your vocal tract. More space and length can allow the vocal tract to maximize or boost acoustic energy. Large differences in spaces provides more flexibility and choices for positioning and improves voice qualities with an easier sound. As you do your exercises, you'll eventually want to integrate vowel and consonant sounds with the voice cup. Now that your vocal cords are in the optimal position, they can work together with the rest of the vocal tract to balance your aerodynamic pressures with the acoustic energy, making it so that your vocal cords don't have to work as hard to create sound.
Here's a list of our references. We appreciate you listening to our presentation. Thank you.